How's it going, everybody? Bam, back with your final Rocket League World Championship daily recap. We finished on Championship Sunday last night. It was a long stream. It was, oh god, it had to have been 10 hours or so. 7 matches, 8 teams entered, only 1 could leave. Let's take a look at how the playoffs went and who we crowned as the Rocket League World Champions. So, starting off in the quarterfinals, there on the left-hand side, we started off the day with FaZe Clan and Version 1 played a tremendous series. FaZe Clan ended up taking it in Game 7. It was a very back-and-forth series, as you can see there. Version 1 absolutely stomped FaZe in Game 3 after FaZe stomped them in Game 1. There was an absolute dogfight on Wasteland there. You can see 5-4 in favor of FaZe in Game 5. Version 1 took the timeout, won the overtime on Neo Tokyo, and then FaZe ended up closing it out on Champions Field, and that would not be the last time we went to Champions Field. So FaZe on to the semifinals. Unfortunately, we had to say goodbye to Version 1. In the next matchup, we had G2 taking on the General NRG, and this one, the scorelines were kind of close, but this one was not particularly close at all. G2 only dropped 1 game on Aquadome, 1-0 in favor of NRG. It was the only goal that they gave up the entire series. And really, it could have been a sweep. G2 hit the crossbar on Aquadome about 4 times. They had really good looks at the net. They controlled the pace of the game. They controlled the pace of the series. And G2 eliminated NRG in a nice, quick, easy, gentleman's sweep in the second matchup. Next up, we had Team BDS and K Corp. Again, the second match to go all the way to Game 7. This one, K Corp started out firing on all cylinders. There you can see Game 1 took it 3-0. BDS absolutely stomped them the next 3 games. That Aquadome overtime, that was such a key win for BDS there. You win a 3.5 minute overtime to avoid the 2-0 series deficit. You're probably looking pretty good for yourself. And then K Corp took the timeout after Game 4. They're down 3-1. They ended up winning the next 2 pretty soundly, including one after the Team BDS timeout. But once again, on Champions Field, BDS show up and show out, and they take the series win 4-3. And they head on to the semifinals, where they met Furia, who upset Moist in Game 7. For the first time ever, Moist could not come up with the ice. They were up 2-0 in the series. They were the first and only team, you'll see later, to get to 3 wins in the series first, to lose the series in the end. They were the only team the entire 2-week event to do that. They were 59-1 over the 60 series, and this was the one. Furia come back from 0-2 down, come back from 3-2 down, got the massive win on Neo Tokyo. I was a little surprised that Moist didn't call the timeout after that one, but they probably wanted to get back into it. We go next type mentality. And on Champions Field, we had some late game heroics. I'll be sharing that, putting that somewhere over there.
Yan intercepts. Yan wins the challenge from Matera helps. He keeps it away. Moist did not let this drop earlier on. Now they're up against it. They done it! 2 seconds is all they need.
But man, just a hell of a performance from Furia. They gained so many fans over the 2 weeks. They gained so many fans from their win at Gamers 8. Furia, one of the fan favorites heading into next year. Yan, Kaio, and Card. Those guys are here to stay, and they're representing South America extremely well. Just a hell of a performance from them. Making it to the top 4 and upsetting Moist, who were really the undisputed, favorites, the big heavy favorites of this one. And Furia ended up taking them down here in Game 7. Again, just an absolute banger of a series. This was the series of the tournament, in my opinion. It was one of the best series of all time, to be completely honest with you. And again, Yan. With the late game heroics on Champions Field. I'll be playing that video here for you at some point on screen here. But yeah, I would definitely recommend going back and watching this series. It was absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. Next up, we had G2 and FaZe in the semifinals. Just really unfortunate, honestly, that we had all 4 of the NA teams on this side of the bracket. Because I really think G2, FaZe, and Version 1 would have had something to say about, Furia, BDS, K Corp, and Moist if we would have gotten to see that. But unfortunately, was not the case. G2, a pretty dominant win, all things considered. FaZe, they got shut out in 3 of the 6 games, and there were a couple games in there that weren't particularly close. G2 definitely held the control for much of the game. There were a couple times there FaZe looked like they might have had him. It was 2-2 after 4 games, and G2 though looked really strong these first two games, the first 2 matches for them. And they would meet the winner of Team BDS and Furia, which you can see there. Team BDS came back from 0-2 down. Again, big overtime win there for Furia. 3-minute overtime there. And then the 1-0 win on Aquadome. BDS called the timeout. Immediately came out of the timeout, got a 6-0 win, and then closed it out on Neo Tokyo with a 5-1 win over Furia. And so we got set up with a grand final between the 2 teams that both won 2 of the 3 regional events for their respective regions in the spring with BDS and G2, and it was not close. Unfortunately, the boys could not bring it home. They just got out to way too slow of a start. All the games other than Wasteland Night were 1-goal games, but BDS scored twice in game 2 to start it off, and then I think they actually got up 3-0, and then G2 scored 2 late ones to try to make that one close. But it was just so unfortunate, man. It was really unfortunate. For those of you that didn't catch the stream, it was just such a helpless feeling, man. Just watching JNAPS in Chicago and Atomic, and G2 just looked nervous. I mentioned it in the stream during the FaZe Clan Game 1 against G2. FaZe Clan just were missing stuff, and they weren't hitting open nets when they had them. Like, FaZe Clan Game 1, it should have been theirs. And I really feel like G2 was kind of the same way here against BDS. I don't know if it was just because they didn't have the most hype matches before then, because honestly the FaZe version 1 was the best match on that half of the bracket. G2 versus NRG and G2 versus FaZe really weren't even too incredibly hyped compared to the Moist Furia and the BDS K Corp. And then even the Furia BDS was super hyped because Furia got up 2-0. But yeah, I don't know what it was with G2. Sometimes you're just on the roll, and it was BDS's day, and they took it down. And congrats to them, Monkey Moon, getting that World Championship with Extra and Seiko. Good to see that move paying off. I feel bad for Mark by 8, but he's still the sub or whatever, so he'll get the World Championship title as well. But yeah, good to see that roster move working out for them. They definitely deserved it. They've been the best team through the COVID era. They won one of the regionals or one of the majors, albeit without a crowd. Then they struggled in fall, and then they had the really bad performance in London with Seiko, and it was good to see him bounce back. I do feel kind of bad that fans were leaving early, but I'll have a video addressing that either this afternoon or tonight. But yeah, it just wasn't G2's time, unfortunately. I feel my heart goes out to JNAPS and Chicago, man, waiting all these years just to try to get another shot at it. And they've been to 2 of the last 3 grand finals, and the one that they missed, they were in the promotion relegation tournament in season 8. So yeah, it's just been, man, it sucks. It sucks to watch them get this far and come up short. And it was just I don't know if it was nerves. Like I'm not in the heads of the guys, but yeah, it just wasn't meant to be this time. So hopefully they'll come back next season, and they'll be just as good as they were this year. But man, what a hell of a season! 10 or 11 months in the making. I really do think we got about the best 8 teams that we could have gotten It's just this is NA copium, but I do think it really mattered that the bracket was NA basically on one half and EU plus Furia on the other half. Because I really think that G2 FaZe and version 1 were 3 of the 5 best teams in this tournament. And sucks that all of them were on that side. But that's just kind of how it goes. Group B in the group stage was clearly the better group. And it definitely showed here. So, yeah, just unfortunate that it had to go that way. And hate it for the G2 guys. But again, hats off to BDS. They absolutely stomped just about everybody that showed up. They stomped Renegades. They stomped version 1. They got through K Corp. They beat Furia, who was riding high after that win on Moist, and then they just were very comfortable against G2, and they ended up picking up the World Championship. So again, hats off Monkey Moon, Extra Mark, and Seiko, all 4 of those guys, and then Coach Mew and all the BDS guys. Round of applause for them. I know I don't sound excited, but that's kind of how it is when they beat your team. But again, just you can't be too upset about it. They outplayed you, and BDS gets it done. So that's going to do it for me. Let me know what you guys think down below. What do you think about the crowd leaving early? I'll have a video about that later. What do you think about how the tournament was? I do have some more thoughts that I'll probably do in something else, just my general thoughts on the tournament in another video as well. So, but yeah, that's gonna do it for me. Let me know what you guys thought of the playoffs. Congrats again to BDS. Everybody go say congrats in the comments. And like the video if you enjoyed it, dislike the video if you didn't. Subscribe if you're new to the channel, click that bell icon so you get notified whenever I go live, whenever I upload a video. And I will see you guys next time. Peace out.